Hey, what's up? What's up? It's your girl Erica. Welcome to my YouTube page. Thank you for tuning in. Happy Monday. I hope your day is going well. I hope your week has gotten off to a great start. And if it hasn't, hugs to you, because I know sometimes getting started at the beginning of the week is kind of like a drag, and it's like, oh, it's Monday again. But I hope I can bring a little sunshine to your day. I am here to do my weekly recap of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Of course, this is season 16 and it was episode 8, and it was entitled Boots on the Ground. Boots on the ground. Boots on the ground. Where them fans at? I hope you guys just don't listen. I love to dance. Of course, I could have added, I didn't want to add any music because I don't know all about like the rights and all that stuff. So I didn't want to add that to it. But anyway, if you know me, if you've been watching my videos, you've probably seen me dancing a little bit or acting, a little silly at the beginning of my videos, because that's really just me. Although I'm just giving, my recap, but that's me. I love to dance. But anyway, let's get started on the review. So the episode opened up, let me go back a little bit. Last week, if you remember, the episode it started or it ended where they were trying to figure out, or it was mentioned, someone said that Drew was actually performing on the mic, but we don't know who said it. Well, this episode started, but they didn't even really go back to that. So I don't know, maybe the producers were just protecting the person that actually said it and they never went back to it. So I was kind of like, okay, I wanted to know who said it. I don't know if you guys felt the same way, but I wanted to know who said it. So that was kind of like the beginning of the episode, but I was already like disappointed. And that's the thing with this season. I don't know if you guys feel like this. I feel like I'm not getting the best of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Some people may love it. Some people may hate it. I am definitely, I'm more on the dislike side of it. And I think maybe for me, it's just that I keep thinking about the old days of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. It's kind of like I miss that. I know that I won't get that back, and then I keep trying to support like the new girls and everything that's all things new of Atlanta, and I keep saying, okay, it's good but it's not great. And then it's like they may have like one little moment that kind of reminds me of like Atlanta, but then it's like on the flip side, I'm always like, what are you guys doing, or what's really going on? So how do you guys feel about that? Are you guys actually feeling the same way? Because for me, I feel like I'm just nostalgic about it, and I miss the old Atlanta. And I know that, if I'm going to watch, I have to watch it for what it is now, but I can't help but to kind of think about how it was. So anyway, but we'll go on. Like I said, see, that was one of the things, like it right off the bat, I was just kind of like, what are they doing? We didn't even, now if the person was bold enough to say that this is what Drew was doing, then they couldn't be, they couldn't actually let it be shown or let it be known who actually said that. So that kind of like, I was like, okay, here we go. But anyway, that didn't stop the show. We went on, and so one of the first scenes, of course, they always kind of open up in there sort of like, we see different montages of the girls. Well, anyway, Britt was talking to her husband. And then we went on to Shamia. So Shamia was talking to, she called her husband, or her husband called her. She was on a phone call with him. And they were talking about the daughter, Shiloh. And Shiloh had been sick, I think, for a couple of weeks. She may have had like some congestion and stuff like that. And Shamia was really concerned about it. So the doctor sort of eased her, her fears and said, look, she's okay. She does have an ear infection, but we'll give her an antibiotic. So Shamia was sort of, you could tell she was still overwhelmed by everything, but she was a little more relieved that Shiloh would be okay. So of course they go to the confessional. Shamia is talking about how her husband Gerald is such a hands-on father. He's a really great dad and stuff like that. And Shamia was really just saying like he's well deserving of a child. And Shamia kind of, she gave me mixed signals about it, because on one hand, she's crying and saying he's so well deserving of a child. But at the same time, she gives me the impression that she doesn't really want to have another baby. Of course, she wouldn't have the baby herself. She would sort of have a surrogate. And to me, she keeps saying if she wants to sort of gift this baby to her husband, I would think that she would be a little more excited about it, and it wouldn't be feel so heavy. It feels heavy when she talks about it. I feel like she feels like in order for their marriage to work and for them to be on one accord, that she has to do this. I don't know if he's already told her that he's just not going to be happy if he doesn't have this baby, but there is some reason why Shamia is pushing on this. But again, she just does not seem to be extremely excited about it. And I wish that she would just not even talk about it anymore. Because, just we'll talk about it once maybe you find another surrogate or whatever. But, I just think Shamia is happy with the way things are. I think there are a lot of other content creators that I listen to. And I'm one, like, I never listen to anyone else's review before I actually record my own, because I like to compare notes and see what they're saying. Like, once I do my video, it's kind of like, I'm like, oh yeah, well, they kind of said the same thing I said. And of course, I'm not, well known like Andrew Gabor and Rodney the Voice. Shout out to them, and LTV Productions. I listen to them all the time. I listen to I think sometimes I listen to Erica De Niro, and I think her name is Jamie. She's really good too. But I'm just saying, I listen to a lot of other content creators. Shout out to Mr. Chalaki too. I listen to many different people, and sometimes we almost have the same opinions, and then sometimes you can hear them say other things that will kind of make you think like, okay, I didn't look at it that way. But anyway, the general consensus among a lot of content creators, even DJ Richie Sky, I can't forget about DJ Richie Sky. But anyway, shout out to him as well. A lot of them are saying the consensus is Shamia doesn't want to have a baby. That's the general consensus in the social media realm, that she doesn't want to do it. And I do believe that. What do you guys think? Because Shamia gives me the impression that she's really okay. If she never has another child, I think that Shamia would be perfectly fine. I don't know about her husband, but I think she would be. So let me know what you guys think about that. Also, so then, of course, moving on from Shamia, Angela and Cynthia are talking. And like I said, Angela and Cynthia give me old school Real Housewives of Atlanta. I can't help but think, what would Angela be like on the cast with Nene, Candy, Sheree, Phaedra, Kenya, that old crew, maybe even Kim, that old crew. I wonder what Angela would have probably fit in perfectly with them. Even a little bit, maybe season 14 with just Candy, Sheree, and Marlo, some of them too. I think she still would have fit in with them too, but I can't help but think that Angela would have thrived with the old cast of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. But she is giving me real old school Real Housewives of Atlanta. So anyway, her and Cynthia were talking. I'm sorry guys, because this thing keeps sliding a little bit. They were talking, and of course the conversation was all about Drew. And so, Cynthia, she's cool with Drew, and Cynthia was just asking like, when is Drew coming, because she keeps hearing it. So Angela confirmed Drew is on the way. I talked to her, it was 3 hours ago, so she definitely should be almost here now. So they were just kind of joking around and laughing. They had a conversation about the whole baby daddy thing, and Cynthia was saying if someone had actually done that with Leon, she would be upset. Now Cynthia, I didn't even think that Cynthia would be that kind of like territorial or sort of jealous about stuff like that. But, she says she is. So I get it. Like, hey, everybody has their own opinion. Everybody has a different relationship with their children's father, even when they're not together. Everyone has their own set of rules of how they co-parent. I get that as well. It just depends on who you are. I would not want someone sneaking around with my children's father. In that case, I wouldn't want somebody sneaking around. So I get that part of it. But I think, well, let me not say that, because some people are going to say, like, when you don't have kids, you don't understand. Like, I've shared with you guys, even doing my Married to Medicine videos, that, I had issues with fertility, and I've had 2 miscarriages. So I don't even want to step in that realm and say what I would do, because I don't actually have children. So I know that's the first thing that some people say, although I can give my opinion about it, but I do know that it probably would, like, when I was pregnant by someone that I really love. And so I don't know how I would have felt, but I think just the person that I am, I'm not like some people are very territorial and very jealous. And I'm not really that way. I think that you have to have boundaries, and boundaries need to be set, but I don't go off about every little thing. Like, some women don't even want the man they're with or an ex to almost speak to anybody, to look at anybody or whatever. I'm not like that. So maybe that's why I feel the way I do about it. But that's just how I feel. Like, so I was kind of surprised that Cynthia said it, but I respected it. So they were talking, and Angela was kind of saying, she understood too, and she was saying she did talk to Drew, but Angela does feel like they're sort of coming across very I guess they're taking it too far, and that's how I feel too. I feel like Angela, that Porsha is really carrying it too far. So they were kind of joking around because Angela had on the wig, and the wig was sort of coming up. And, I just laughed about it. Like, for me, I'm not a person that criticizes, like, women, like, who wear wigs and stuff like that. Like, we've all gone, like, I'm in my 40s, like Angela, and we've all had, we've gone through all the hair changes, from the haircuts, the hair colors, we were wearing our natural hair, then we went to the sew-ins on all the weaves, the long weaves. We did that for a long time. We also did the braids, the cornrows, and now we sort of have transitioned to, the quick weaves and the other, weaves and stuff like that, the quick, the wigs and stuff like that. So I just say, when you're a woman of a particular age, like, especially when you're having like those hot flashes, like, girl, the wigs that require glue, it won't work. Angela, just wear your own hair or get your hair braided, because, child, you're gonna have a problem every single time. I don't care what you do. You can have the best hairstylist in the world, but Angela seems to sweat a lot, and if she's doing that a lot, the best thing to do, girl, is just find a new method, girl. Get your hair braided, or, like I said, wear your own hair. I think now natural hair is coming back, so just wear your own hair. I mean, you have the best. You can have access to the best of the best of the best, girl. You can find another way. But I just thought that was really cute and fun that they were able to laugh about it. So Drew arrives, and then, of course, she hugs Cynthia, and then she goes and finds Angela. Angela's in hair and makeup with her makeup artist, or her hairstylist. And so Angela says, well, Drew, go and look at your room. Drew goes and looks at the room. She's a little shocked. I think she felt like, oh my God, what is this? And she said, it looks like an orphanage. Well, I don't really know what an orphanage looks like, but I doubt that it would be like that, or even probably as nice or as comfortable as the home in Nashville. Now, granted, like I said, old school, Housewives, most of the times the rooms were chosen by seniority. A lot of times it just depends. Like, if you were a newbie, you would not necessarily get the best room. But now they're sort of changing that up and just picking the rooms for the girls. Like, back in the day, it was like, if we were like the OGs, or we've been here the longest, then we would get the best rooms. If you just got here, then, girl, you would just get whatever's left over. But now, like I said, this was Porsha's trip. So, of course, they allowed Porsha to actually choose the rooms. Because normally Drew probably would have gotten Shamia or Angela's room. And that didn't happen because, of course, Porsha doesn't like Drew. So, Drew just got whatever room was available. But anyway, so the girls, Drew kind of came back and talked to Angela a little bit, and that was that. Drew went downstairs, and of course, I think they were getting ready to go on to an event. The event was, half of the girls were going to the Coyote Ugly bar, and the other girls were going to a whiskey tasting. Now, me personally, I'm going to the Coyote bar because that's just more my personality. Some people love to drink and they love hard liquor. That's not me. I'm definitely like a lightweight. I would have had so much more fun with the girls at the Coyote Bar. But I wish that all of them could have gone together, but they didn't. While they were on their way, Shamia had like a moment. She'd gotten a text message. And this was like a personal story. Shamia was saying that when she was married, she was only married for a year. She did let us know that. And she said that her husband was abusive. And one day they were out and he hit her. And he hit her so hard that he knocked her out of her shoes. And the particular lady that sent her a message was a lady who was familiar with her abusive situation in the past, but the lady had sent her a text message to apologize to her. And Shamia was very emotional about that particular text. I don't really know all of what the lady said. Excuse me. I don't know all of what the lady said, but she said something and it was enough to really make Shamia cry. And Shamia was just talking about it. And anyone who's been through a domestic violence situation, you know, my heart goes out to you, because abuse is abuse is abuse. And I am just, if you are one of those people, I just hope and pray that you're doing well, that you were able to get out, and that you're thriving today and in a much, much better place. You know, abuse comes in different forms. It can be verbal, it can be mental, it can be emotional, you know, psychological, physical, all of those things. And like I said, that's why I said abuse is abuse is abuse. If you've experienced any form of abuse, I really just hope and pray that, you know, like I said, you're just in a much better place and you are holding your head up high. But you know, that was a good little thing. Shout out to Shamia for doing that. And she even mentioned Cynthia's mother, because years ago Kenya had the ladies to do a PSA against for domestic violence. So, you know, even for Shamia to actually acknowledge that Cynthia's mom had went through that, and she just happened to ask about her mom. So anyway, the girls go to the bar and we see them get there and they meet the bartenders, and it was like a cool, like, little atmosphere. Looks like it could have been a lot of fun, and it would have been, to me, it would have been a lot of fun with a lot more people. Like sometimes when it's just one or two or three people, it's cool, it's fun. But when you have like a group of people, oh my God, that's when it's like the absolute best. So the bartender told Shamia, she said, look, you're going to take a shot, your first shot, you have to do it with no hands, because coyotes don't really have arms or hands to do it. So you have to sort of get it without it. You got to get it. And of course, Shamia is a pro. Shamia is no throwaway. You know, she ain't a rookie at this. Shamia took that shot. Honey, she bent down, got that shot with that arch in her back, and threw it all the way back. Shamia was ready for a good time. And it was good. It was fun. But at the same time, and I don't know how you guys feel about that, I see these girls do it so much, because after that, it was like almost like a competition between the girls. Like, who's going to be the freakiest, or who's going to put the little shot glass all the way in her mouth. And it was like Porsha, she was doing little things with her tongue. So I was like, okay, here we go with the competition type thing. So then Porsha did it, and then Kelly did it. And you know, that was pretty much it. And they were kind of like twerking and all, you know, they're little and all that. But to me, this is me. I wanted to see Shamia slide down that bar. I wanted to see them up there doing a little, you know, just doing a little, you know, two-step, or, you know, just doing like a little routine like they did in Coyote Ugly. Like, I would have loved to have seen that. You know, we just kind of saw them like basically drinking and taking shots and having a conversation. But I would have loved to have seen the full action of that bar, like with the bar being, you know, active and people watching them. I think that would have been really, really fun. So they were flipping back and forth between the girls actually doing the whiskey tasting. And Cynthia and them, they were having a good time. I think Britt is a lightweight, so she doesn't really drink. So, you know, Angela's, of course, they were talking about Porsha and how she was acting. And so Britt was kind of telling Angela, well, you're not a victim in this, you know, but sort of like you want people to sort of see your side, but you didn't see my side. You and Drew instantly took Kenya's side. And Drew was like, okay, I got you. But Drew was saying, like, us showing up at the brunch, was our way of showing you that we supported you. And she didn't get that. Like, Drew was like, you have to realize, like, we also had a relationship with Kenya, and we can't just like denounce Kenya because of you. I understand that you went, you sort of, you went there, and I understand that something happened, and I understand that it was very traumatic for you and it was very embarrassing for you. But at the same time, please understand that we have a relationship with Kenya, and we wanted to also make sure that she was okay, and we felt bad because she was no longer there. And I agree with Drew. Like, yeah, like Kenya is gone. Like, this girl is gone. And honestly, her presence is missing because everything right now to me is Porsha, 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 Porsha. And it's kind of like I just want to see the girls like sort of just have fun together. I mean, we know that there's always division among the girls, but normally it's like half and half. This time it's like everybody's on Porsha's side, and then it's just Angela and Drew on the other side. And it's kind of like, okay, this is like, it's not even about it being outnumbered, but it's just not fun when you have to watch a show and they're so divided. I don't like that. I really don't like that. And it made me say, because I'm looking at my notes now, I'm tired. I'm just tired of the whole Drew and Porsha thing. I'm tired of even I'm sorry, with Porsha and Angela now. Because it's like, it's kind of, I hope I said it right. I'm tired of Porsha and Drew beefing. And I'm tired of even this whole little new thing with Porsha and Angela. Because I really think it's going to like go off the rails now, because it's kind of like it has gotten out of control. And my thing is, this is what I wrote down in my notes. Porsha was literally begging Kandi for her forgiveness. She wanted Grace so bad in season 10 after what she did. And even part of season 11, they still had to talk about it. She wanted so much grace from Kandi and from everyone else, yet she refuses to give grace to Drew in this situation. Like, we all know what happened with Porsha and Kandi. Porsha repeated something, honestly, in my opinion, that she never even had to talk about. But Porsha is now like harping on this, and I said it from my first recap of this season. Porsha is angry about this whole divorce thing. She knows she looks absolutely ridiculous to the world, and she's looking to, she needs a punching bag, and she just happened to use the situation with Drew and Dennis to get her rocks off. She's angry, she's upset, and she wants to be angry, and she wants to be mad, and she's fighting mad, and so she wants to use Drew. But I think it is taking up too much time in the season. The only big things that we've had in this season are Drew and Porsha, and then the whole thing with Kenya and Britt. Now, we're already on episode 8. They're probably going to have at least 7 or 8 more episodes to go. How much more of this Drew and Porsha thing, or how much more of that are we going to see? Is that going to be for the rest of the season? Or is now Porsha and Angela going to be for the rest of the season? Are we not going to see Kelly, have to deal with somebody else or get into it with somebody else? Is it going to be, just Angela and Drew versus the rest of the group? I'm not interested. That's boring to me. And that's what I keep saying. Like, I'm tired of it. Like, Porsha, let this whole thing with Dennis go. If you're angry with him, let it be that. Porsha wants to use Dennis so bad for her emotional support now. And so anytime she just feels like anybody else has access to what she wants, it's an issue. It is an issue. And then she's making it like big, like, Porsha, you can't control Dennis. Dennis was cheating on you when you guys were together. If you could control Dennis, I'm sure you would still be with him today, because you would have been able to get him to do exactly what you wanted him to do, but you can't do that. And so if Dennis chooses to film with, Drew and stuff like that, it really is on him as well. And that's kind of leading up to what happened, because once the ladies came back together, they were sort of talking, and they were kind of asking about the whiskey thing. And of course, Britt was acting like she was so bored. But, Britt should have been with the other ladies, because she probably would have had a better time. But, you know, Cynthia and the rest of the girls were okay. You know, that just wasn't Brit's crowd. Brit wanted to be with the love and hip hop crowd. And I get it. I understand that, and it's cool because Brit really should have gone with the other ladies. But then once they got back to the house and they were preparing for dinner, Porsha talked to PJ. And she also got another call, and someone was sort of telling her that Dennis filmed with Drew. So that just ruined her mood. Like, you know, we went from, you know, okay, Porsha having a good time taking the shots back to now it's pouty Porsha. You know, pouty Porsha. Like, Porsha has been so up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, like a seesaw on this entire trip. And it's been exhausting. Like, I'm trying to imagine being on a girl's trip with somebody like Porsha who's just in and out. My thing is, if you're having a bad day, just tell the ladies, you all go ahead, have a great time, but don't infringe on everybody's fun. It's like they have to spend more time like catering to you. Porsha, what's wrong? Porsha, are you okay? You're not yourself. Oh, Porsha, it's your birthday. And I understand you want someone to have the best time on their birthday, because I'm like anybody who knows me, like, I love birthdays, not just my own, but anybody's birthday. And I wouldn't want someone to be down on their birthday, but it's exhausting trying to constantly check, are you okay? Are you okay? What's wrong? What happened? You're not yourself. What can we do? Oh, that's a lot for anybody. And I was just like, oh my God, can they just go home already? Can they just go home? That's how I felt, because I was like, this is stupid. But anyway, Porsha was down, so they actually had someone to come in and teach them like a line dance, and I thought that was fun. I was like, oh, this is good. These girls can laugh and joke their way through this, and it should be great. By the time they get to dinner, they should be good to go, because they've loosened up. They've had some fun. It wasn't anything that was too serious. And then lo and behold, they get to the table and Porsha has an attitude. Pouty Porsha's sitting there, and they were asking her again, what's wrong? And, you know, Drew said, well, I want to apologize, Porsha. You know, I did get you a gift. I know it's your birthday. I got you a bottle of whiskey. And so basically she was trying to extend an olive branch. Porsha didn't want to hear, because, again, Porsha has the upper hand. That's another thing that I don't like. If you really consider someone a friend, yes, you're going to go to them and you're going to try to apologize and make amends, especially if you feel like you played a part in it or you were wrong. I thought Drew did it. You know, of course, Drew can't seem to talk to Porsha alone, but I didn't think that what she did at the table, I didn't think that was wrong. She did try to say, like, happy birthday. You know, I want us, you know, I'm giving you something, like, you know, and she was very humble about it. Porsha knows that she has the upper hand, and she knows that she has the power, and she used that power to try to embarrass you. I don't like that. When somebody's trying to apologize to you, some people get their rocks off trying to like ignore you or reject you or make you feel like what you're saying is not important and you're not important. So I didn't like that. So I understood when Drew was like, okay, I'm just gone because this is not working. And all the other girls were like, no, sit down, sit down, sit down. Okay, but no one is checking Porsha about her attitude. That's what got me. You're telling Drew, no, Drew, we want you here. But at the same time, no one's saying, Porsha, it's your birthday, girl. Pull it together, snap out of it. I know you guys have had some issues. Pick that back up in the next couple of days. Let's just have a couple of good days on this trip. Let's have fun, girl. Don't worry about it. And you need to get out of that funk. And I know that Cynthia talked to Porsha later on in the episode, but it was a little too late. Because Porsha was saying when she talked to Cynthia, well, it's not about Drew and Angela. Okay, but you're making it about them. And like Cynthia said, I can understand that you're in a bad place, but you just can't dump on other people like that. You can't make other people your punching bag. And we've seen that over time, that Porsha has a habit of doing that. And I just thought, like, Porsha's coldness and saying that she didn't give an F about Angela and all that, I just thought that that was like way too much. And like I said, Angela right now for me is the MVP, because she's taking all of this on her back. She's not kissing up to Porsha. She's not trying to be Porsha's flunky, or, you know, she's not trying to be some girl, you know, some it girl where she wants to be accepted or she wants to be on the cool kids team. Angela is being exactly who she is, and I like that. You know, she's sticking by Drew, and even more so, she's sticking up for herself. Like she says, I'm not going to kiss up to you. Everyone else can do it, and they seem to be, you know, doing a fine job. So I'm not going to join that team. I'm going to stay over here and have some dignity. And I can appreciate that about Angela. Like I said, Angela is giving us old school Real Housewives of Atlanta, and I can appreciate that. She's not succumbing to the pressure to sort of kiss up to Porsha, and I like that. And so I think Porsha needs to forgive Drew, or if they're not going to be friends, have that one conversation and let it go once and for all. I think I probably would have understood where Porsha was coming from a little bit more, but I think I said in like my first or second review of this season, Porsha has a habit of doing that. Dennis told us on Porsha's Family Matters that Porsha didn't even want Londi, her cousin Londi. She didn't want Dennis to work with Londi. And Londi and Dennis's business relationships was sort of severed. Londi didn't even know, may Londi rest in peace, but Londi didn't even know that Porsha had done that. Dennis confessed to Londi that Porsha told him that she did not want Dennis working with her. That is bad. So Porsha just has a habit of trying to control the men that's in her life. And now again, she did it with Londi, with her cousin. Now I'm not saying that, you know, something can't happen with a family member, because there are a lot of people who have been betrayed by their family members. But at the same time, it's kind of like, okay, first Londi, now it's Drew. Okay, so Porsha, now you just have a habit of doing it. And I think that's where I am. I think that's why I'm tired of it, because Portia's just showing us that if she doesn't get her way, it's like, it's like hell to pay. Her attitude, it just stinks, and I'm tired of it. So anyway, dinner was pretty much over. So Drew and Angela didn't participate in their events when they went to the pool that night. And they were out at the pool and they were having a good time. Of course, Porsha was back to being Porsha. She was peach juice at the pool and she was twerking and, you know, just and all of that. And, you know, they rubbing, you know, whatever. You know how they do. Y'all know how they do. They get real touchy-feely and all that, especially when they're drinking. And so she was back to that. And so they said that Angela could hear them outside. They said, I think they were talking about Angela. Angela said, well, I kind of recorded a little bit of them. She said, I was on the phone with Charles and I heard my name call. And they were acting like, oh my God, that was weird. You know, she was listening to us last night. She was listening. But that could happen. Like, wherever you live, you know, if you have pretty good hearing, you can hear if your name is mentioned, or you can even hear, like, if you're depending on like how that house was built. If Angela's room was on the back side or the side where the pool was, I'm sure they were pretty loud. Their voices were echoing. And so they could probably, you know, she could probably hear some of the things that they were saying. And that can happen, like, you know, I mean, my God, if my neighbor is close to my backyard, or if my neighbor is on the side of my house, I can hear my neighbors. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what it is. Like, I don't know why people are acting like that's so creepy and that's so weird. You can hear people, especially if you're quiet or there's not a lot going on, where there's a lot of noise in your space. You can hear outside people. So I could see where Angela could hear it. And then they said, you know, they were talking about Angela's clothes, and then Porsha said, you know, well, you know, yeah, I could, you know, screw the do, you know, Charles, if Angela better be careful, or that's what I would do. Screw the do Charles. And that's bad. Like, Porsha, even if Porsha says she's joking, that ain't cool. And when Angela came out there and to approach them, Porsha went in the house. Porsha didn't even admit it. Now, Porsha, you a big bad. You supposed to be, you know, the baddest bee, and you was sitting at the table earlier and you said that you didn't give an F about Angela. Now, all of a sudden, you're walking away when Angela's approaching you. It's fake at this point. So when Kelly came to speak to Angela the next morning, Angela was like, look, I don't want to be fake, but, you know, and so Kelly was like, no, this is really me. I'm like a morning person. I just wanted to say good morning. Angela was like, okay, that's cool. But basically, I don't want to talk to you right now. So I'm going to give you this good morning and go on about your business, because I'm getting ready to leave. I don't want to be around you. So it's sort of shaping up to be like a a Porsha versus Angela type thing. We'll see what happens next week, because that was the end of the episode. Her and Drew were leaving ahead of the other girls, and when they were driving off, you could hear Angela in the truck saying, or in the car saying that, you know, the other girls are just kissing up to Porsha, and, you know, she doesn't like it. Basically, she was like, all of them do it. And she was like, I'm tired of Shamia, I'm tired of Britt, I'm tired of all of them. And I agree. And let me know, guys, what you think. Are you feeling what Angela's saying, or do you feel like Angela's just going too far and she's just using this because she wants to beef with Porsha? Or do you believe that Angela is on point? You know, that are they really sucking up to Porsha? You know, but let me know what you think in this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. I have been doing the reviews. I have been reviewing or recapping Atlanta from the their first episode of this season. Please check me out. I know sometimes you haven't watched the actual you know, episode, and sometimes you may not want to. Some people may say, I'll just skip this week. So, you know, hey, check me out, or go back and look at some of my old videos, or and you know, you can kind of catch up that way, because sometimes I refer back to my old videos, so you can kind of go back and see what I said in the other videos. But other than that, guys, I hope you have an amazing day. Like I said, leave me a comment. Drop me a comment if you want to, you know, tell me how you felt about it. What did you think about the episode? You know, what do you feel about Porsha and Angela versus Angela? How long do you think Porsha and Drew are going to drag this whole beef out? What do you think about Shamia? Do you think Shamia should go ahead and have another baby, or do you think that Shamia really doesn't want to have another baby? Let me know what you think, guys. I would love to interact with you guys, and I would love to just read some of your comments, and, you know, let me know what you're thinking. And that's it, guys. I don't have anything else. That was pretty much the episode. I hope you, like I said, I hope you enjoyed this review, and I will see you on the next video. Have a good one. Bye.